Hey, thanks for tuning in this episode of Channel Surfing. We're actually down here at the dock at Little House of Canvas. Because I need some canvas work. So let's check out why I need canvas work. All that Velcro, all that stitching has failed, which actually lets the water actually drip out slowly, you know, instead of it like pooling and stuff. I had to cut a couple holes through here to get some bungee to hold it, because this is just, and I hate that. But if you look here, all this Velcro all coming off. Zipper, not that I use my zipper, but it's stuck. Now, I will say, look at this right here. Watch this. Look at how easy that is. That's awful. So down here at Little House of Canvas, like I said, so I figured I don't do canvas work. I'll do electrical, I'll do mechanical, but canvas ain't my thing. So I need to hire a professional. So I'm gonna let Little House of Canvas solve my canvas problem. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're down here at Little House of Canvas's dock. We've got Ryan and Jaci. They own Little House of Canvas, and they do all the spec work and design work and stuff on canvas. And we got with the 70 feet of dock.
70 feet of in-water dock.
In-water dock. Yep. This is down here at we're at Port of Everett on Central Dock. So this is their workspace, you know. So you don't necessarily have to have the boat hauled out or have canvas work. It makes it convenient to work on it. You know, their shop's over at Central. I think it says right by Scuttlebutt in the backside.
Right behind Scuttlebutt in the repair yard.
Yeah.
We have a 2,000 square foot shop. If you need to haul your boat out, you can have the boat hauled out and put right in front of our shop if we're doing canvas work, and then you can do bottom painting, anything that you need to do right there in our yard.
70-foot boat.
Up to 70 feet, anything the port can haul out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have got a really cool location right down here.
Yeah. All right, so talk to me about my canvas.
Yeah.
Well, looks like you're thread rotted, which is why you have all of the holes. And when manufacturers don't use the right thread, the thread is the first thing that rots and falls apart. I use zippers. Velcro is not very
Well, it depends on, so just to kind of rehash a little bit, Velcro in saltwater doesn't last a long time. What happens is as salt spray gets in, it gets into the fibers and it weakens the Velcro. So you'll end up, if you're not cleaning it all the time, you'll end up with salt embedding into the hook and loop, and then it doesn't secure any longer.
Okay.
So then as you are traveling fast or you get water, and as the canvas stretches, it's going to start pulling away and not securing, so you're replacing that Velcro.
Velcro is also not UV resistant.
So it rots.
And so it will deteriorate and crumble and fall apart. Like I said, also the thread that's holding the Velcro, if it is not UV resistant, either V92, polyester, water anti-wicking, or sun UV resistant, that will be the first thing that rots.
Yep. So in our shop, typically what we use is, for most of our stuff, we're using a PTFE, which is a lifetime thread. So it doesn't rot, it doesn't degrade if you use harsh chemicals for cleaning, things like that. So the thread is either, some people call it Gore-Tex or 𝗕𝗢𝗓, Solarfix. Those are some of the main manufacturers of this thread that that canvas shops can use. We do it in almost 90% of everything we fabricate, just because where we're at up here in the Everett area in the saltwater, thread rots up here in 5 years if it's polyester. And so we want to make sure that our customers, when they come in, that what they're getting, their thread's not going to rot in 5 years. We're more about the longevity of what we produce. We're shooting for, to beat that 5-year mark, so that way our customers don't have to keep coming back, getting their things restitched, repaired, or replaced.
Yeah. So, and we're not getting a cockpit enclosure. I've always been on the fence in enclosure. So Lizzie and I look at the enclosure the same way we look at the dinghy lift. Functionality, hands down, it is fantastic. And we have friends that have the enclosures, and I love the enclosures on my friend's boat, right? But the way we boat, we're too active in the cockpit. It would be in the way most of the time, and then a few times we'd use it. It'd be nice, but we just wouldn't use it enough. But I want to go over, I know a lot of folks watching this are interested in the enclosures or have the enclosures. And there was a presentation you gave at Yacht Club last year I was at. And it was a fantastic one where you talked all about the different types of glass, you know, and the care and treatment of it when you roll it up, or the abrasiveness of it. Can you talk about that a little bit for the enclosure piece and what it would take for the enclosure, and also talk about the zippers as well? You're like this guy that's stuck, not that I ever use it, but it certainly doesn't seem like a feature.
Sure. That's a great question. So I am Little House of Canvas is a completely custom shop. So one of the first questions that we ask in our conversation with a potential client is, how do you boat? So an enclosure for you would be in the way. An enclosure for me makes me warm because I'm always cold. So everybody boats different, right? And that's one of the benefits of doing everything custom, or doing things custom, is because then I can tailor it to how you use your boat. Do you have downriggers? Where do you need a access panel? Do you like ventilation? Do you quick roll up U-shaped windows? What kind of clarity of glass? Because there's different grades of clarity.
And so along those same lines, what Jaci's saying is we tailor what we put on a boat to our customer. And ultimately I don't want to sell you a one size fits everybody, because your uses are going to be different than, the person who doesn't fish, doesn't crab, doesn't have, pot pullers and stern lines, right? If they just want to go and anchor out someplace and sit in the cockpit and enjoy not being in the wind, an enclosure with a thicker vinyl, like a 40 gauge or 60 gauge Strataglass might be what they want, because they're rarely lifting panels up, moving them out of the way. Roll up versus sliding, depending on how big your panels are and what size your boat is. Maybe rolling up doesn't solve your problem, because now you have a bunch of canvas and glass right here. So a panel, and we slide it out of the way. And then you just unzip and move.
A sliding door. Type of.
So there's a lot of neat ways that we can troubleshoot what a customer is looking for and build a custom product for their boat and their uses. Kind of going back to what you're mentioning with the zipper. So a lot of times boats up here, the zipper is made out of a material called Vizlon, the teeth itself, and then we put metal sliders. But nonetheless, the problem is when you're out here in the salt, they corrode. The metal zippers sliders corrode. You'll notice on your zipper, the teeth are perfect, right? But this zipper, which you never use because you don't have an enclosure, hasn't moved in who knows how long, has completely locked and frozen in place.
Frozen,
Right? You can't move it. I'm sure all the other ones are similar. So one thing that we do differently is on panels that don't get removed often, we have sliders that are the same material as the zipper teeth.
This is a Vizlon number 10 zipper, and it's almost waterproof. It is weatherproof, better than coil. Yes, the metal zippers are what a majority of canvas companies use. We change our zipper sliders. It's called Derlin, and it's a plastic zipper slider, so that way it won't corrode.
Okay. We will use those on any of the panels that don't get removed often, just because they slide really well, but they're not great for everyday use because they're not metal. We will use a metal slider on doors or heavy access because they just slide easier, and then they tend to not corrode as fast because they're constantly being used and worked, and so they last longer. And so we'll strategically put metal where it makes sense, just for the easeability of sliding.
Well, also zippers come in 2-pull or single pull, and so like when I make my Bimini tops, when I do zippers here, in order to, you know, keep it tensioned and have it stay versus the Velcro, which you can't tension Velcro, right? I will use a single pull zipper so that way you won't get a fray mark on the top of the canvas
from the
other
abrasion
side
of the zipper. Yeah.
Can you
So
tell the difference between a single and a double pull?
Sure, I can show you.
we'll make a note to look
We'll
at the
make a-
shop.
So if you wanted to take a look at this, this zipper, right? It's corroded. There's a pull on this side and a pull on this side. So a single pull does not have a pull up here, and it's all flat. So that's what I use on all of my zippers, making the Bimini, so that way there's no abrasion sliding up or, you know, the wind moving it or whatever. And we try and make ours as drum tight as possible so you won't have bird baths.
What are we gonna do in the morning then if we don't have?
Yeah, so that's another.
Seagull bath.
So that's another common flaw, I guess I would say, on the factory Bimini is they all collect water back there. I mean, this obviously this is because of the Velcro, all, but even when it was brand new, all the Biminis usually will collect water. So people are always trying to tension them or tighten them. You know, there's people that have like added like an extra bar right here to push it up or whatever. You know, and I'm just thinking if it was just stretched right, then it probably wouldn't pull water.
Yeah. So a lot of things that are working in your favor here is you have an awning track that goes across the top.
Yeah.
So we use a Keter rope and secure that Bimini. So that gives you a really good, strong mechanical connection to the boat versus snaps or something like that. So what that means though is that we can actually put a lot of tension and load on that piece because it's so well connected to the boat.
It makes it an even pull.
And an even,
when
yeah.
We're going this.
Yeah.
So when we go, and I don't want to drop water on you if there's any in here, but when we go, just keeps going. So when
To our world.
so when we go, so like Jaci said, you can't tension Velcro. There's no, you know, the pull strength on it is really weak, right? It's like you can pull laterally and it'll fall apart. So when we go and come off of here, and then Little House of Canvas, Jaci will put a zipper in here, and these pulls or these pockets are going to be tight. So it'll be tight from here to here, across from here, and then all the way to here. So, you know, our goal is that when you have your canvas done, you know, it's drum tight. It doesn't move. And so that water, when it does get on it, it's going to shed to the either side and it's going to shed off the back
That would be awesome.
without it collecting. Because you can actually, you know, when we do it, when we're finished, in order to get the zipper to go, you know, a lot of times we're having to put quite a bit of stretch and pull on it to get those zippers, and then it holds where it needs to be.
Well, on the back, when you're gonna come back this way, tighten it, so that'll give it the stretch.
Yep, it stretches as it rolls around.
So the other thing that I find interesting is you don't have much crown. The stainless bar doesn't have much crown, which, you know, would allow the canvas to have more of a
It will allow the water to shed off a little bit more. So that's just goes to show why tensioning that canvas is so much more important because of the fact that there's not a steep crown on here. If there was another degree or two of rise in these bows, then you might not get as much water collection, even with the Velcro from the factory. But because they're relatively flat, there's maybe a 1 inch to maybe 1.5 inch rise from this point to there. If we were to put a level across, you might get that much of a rise, right? 1.5 to 2 inches over this space. It's just not enough. You know, it's just not shedding well enough with a loose canvas.
Right.
And so, but it'll be fine for tensioning. Once we put the tighter canvas top on, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Even brand new, that was never
Right.
tight.
It's
could
never
always-
been tight.
It looked just like that. It's never been.
Well, so if I take this apart, you'll kind of, I mean, all that this is right here,
it's just a placeholder.
it's just a placeholder, right? So this is never here intended. So like if we were to actually want to make this tight, right? Like
So you'd have to put new Velcro.
you'd have to put new Velcro. You know, that's tight, but then you get a dimple right there, which is going to be the other. So now when you're looking at it from the top, this might be tight, but then it's going to be sagged here, and then you got to keep working your way. And so we need to tension all that up.
Yeah.
The new canvas.
That will be awesome because that's the number 1 complaint that we have, and many others that talk to me have, is the canvases always pull water, and we're always hooking them up here, and it's a waterfall. And it'll be nice to get rid of that. So, and for us, I mean, what we're looking to do is we just want the factory Bimini replaced. You know, I want it in black because it'll match the boat better on that, and you know, then obviously no Velcro, and you guys do your magic to improve it. Now let's say if I was going to go with an enclosure, let's say I had a new Bimini and I wanted an enclosure. What's your thoughts on adding the enclosure to the factory Bimini?
No.
And, right, I
No.
figured that's what you would say, and it would be because this will eventually fail.
Yeah.
Right, as mine is.
When I put enclosure panels, they're heavy, and
there's a lot of weight.
If the thread is already rotting, this will, like, I can't warranty any work putting new window or putting new walls on a roof that's compromised. I won't do it.
Right. And that was the answer I was expecting. Because for me, as the owner, I was like, spend a lot of money on the enclosure is more money than the top.
Correct.
Right. By a substantial margin. And then to have it just fail earlier and none of it be usable because if you can't attach it, right, or the top fails.
Well, and one thing you'll notice is from the factory, they put a single zipper just running down the whole sides, right? There's no break in that zipper. So if you wanted to have an enclosure, we'd either have to make it all one big panel and then just have vertical zippers going up as close as we can. But again, that kind of starts limiting. You have this big, huge panel that now you have to take off at one point and store. Because there's only one zipper on the top, or we're going to have to zip something in there and then have another zipper to get your individual pieces, right? So if you want an enclosure, we go through and we redo this. We figure out, okay, you have your access points here. This is where we're going to have a natural break from a window. That one's going to be off a lot. You want to be able to just take that one off, keep the one in the back on, right? And so then we start breaking apart that zipper. Or like I said, if we're going to be doing sliding panels, if that's what you want, then instead of a zipper, we'll put a Keter rope right up in here. And then that sliding track goes in, and then you have double sliding for windows and things like that. And so you can end up with a door panel here, you've got a panel here, and then this one just slides out of the way on the inside. You can get in and out, and it's a lot easier to...
Actually, I've never even knew they made sliding.
Yeah.
We do a lot of it on big fly bridges. So like the boat that's behind us, we're doing sliding windows on either side of the fly bridge. A
big Nordhaven.
It's a Meridian.
Or Meridian.
Yeah.
Nordhaven was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Nordhaven was a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Having that kind of functionality, like, we're boaters.
Yeah.
I want people to, when I make canvas, I want them all to go out on the water, make those memories, and enjoy it, right? A lot of ladies get cold. And so being able to do enclosure panels where it's the best of both worlds. I can help the husband be happy going in and out, and, you know, versatility wise, and his, you know, being able to do something for a crab pot or whatever, right? And he can remove whatever windows he needs to, but still keep his
ladies
wife.
fish too.
They do, yes, they do. But, you know, being able to have that functionality, so that way as many people can enjoy and be comfortable as possible.
And Jaci hit on a big thing, which you said that they're boaters too. They're a bit different of boaters. They just bought about a year or two ago an 80-foot boat. They're liveaboards. Yeah, and they've been and that's not your first liveaboard.
No, this is our third boat. We've been living full time on board for 8 years, 4 kids, 2 dogs, and we started in a 40-foot cruiser home, built right here in Everett back in the 70s. And
our livable space was not much bigger than your boat.
And then we were in a 50-foot catch rig sailboat. We were planning on sailing and cruising around the world, and unfortunately, we bought the boat right before COVID hit. So that kind of shut down cruising plans, and that's when Little House of Canvas was in 2021. And it was because we were sewing things for our boat, and then other boaters started saying, "Hey, you can sew," and so we started on the salon table and patterning on the dock. And over the last 4 years, it's grown to where it's at now.
Yeah. So let's talk about patterning and stuff. Walk me through high level the steps you go to put a custom canvas on, like the pattern. What's the steps that you go through for all that?
Okay, so patterning in Bimini. Where do we start? First thing we do, we get rid of all this. We take off all the old canvas. We're not going to use it for anything at this point.
It's not usable.
It's not usable. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not going to give us an
anyways.
accurate pattern. Nothing about this is going to help us.
Sometimes it's nice to see what somebody did. One, that I don't make the same mistake, or two, what do you not like about something? And if you could change anything, then what would you like to change? And so those are some things that I take into consideration when I'm patterning something, because like I said, it is all custom. As you're chatting to me, I'm sewing in my head and like, how would I do this? Because boats are 3-dimensional. It looks 1-dimensional, but it is, or 2-dimensional, but it is all 3-dimensional. And it is not quick. It is not easy. And everything that I do is made with a lot of love.
So first thing we're going to do, we use some clear vinyl or clear plastic material that is kind of dimensionally stable, so it doesn't stretch in weird ways. And so we're going to come out here, and most of the time what we'll do is we'll either just stay stitch a Keter rope into it so we can slide it into the existing track, and because you have it already here, and so then we can actually use that and pull and tension. It makes that a little bit easier. Otherwise, it's double-sided tape. It's really, really simple. We'll
tension things.
Tension
and then
it
you just
up.
go around and you're hand drawing.
Just using a
Hand drawing
Sharpie
where
pen.
you want your seam line to go, and then after that, it's math. Lots and lots of math.
Yeah. And what we're doing now more is after we pattern a boat, if it's a factory boat, right, and all this is the same on multiple boats, is we are digitizing things that we do now. So once we finish this pattern, and now we know it's on a Ranger 27, what we're going to do is back in our shop we have a large vacuum CNC table. We're one of the few shops in Washington that I know of, maybe the only one in Washington that has one. And what we'll do is we'll digitize this pattern. So we'll use a XY, let's got a little laser beam scanner, and we go through and we trace our line, and it draws it in the computer for us. So we can manually pattern and do everything by hand, and then we scan that whole thing and stick it into the computer, and we can label all of our parts, our seam allowances, zipper marks, everything that we need to do. And then we can use the computer and the CNC plotter to go cut the material back out.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty cool. And we have a 30-foot vacuum table, so it sucks the material down and holds it, and then we go through and do all the cutting and marking and everything like that with our CNC machine, which is pretty cool.
That'll be really good for anybody else who might be interested in one, because all the R27s are the same. For the top Bimini, and and like I said, there's a fair amount that do get the enclosure, and there's also a fair amount of boaters that are like us that we just went to Bimini. And I was just on a boat yesterday, and their boat's a year older than mine, and they had theirs replaced last year. Okay. But they just bought it from the factory, so it's the same Velcro and stuff all over.
So in 3 to 5 years, they're going to be doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
Yep. And so
I'd like to get more than 5 years out of it.
Right.
What about Sunbrella and stretching? It's my understanding Sunbrella stretches one way but not the other. And I'm not sure which way they put this. On my last boat, we had canvas put on it, and it was a bow rider, so it was open cockpit, and I did a cockpit enclosure for storage. And that was one of the things the guy told me, was that with the original, this was a Maxim boat, so the way they were doing the canvas back then is, he said they cut the material so they get the most material off of the roll with as least waste, which turns it the wrong way, so it stretches port to starboard instead of bow to aft. So he has to turn it the other way when he does the Sunbrella, and then he puts bungee cords so that way it can stretch forward and aft, not port to starboard, and that way it looks good the whole time. And it made a big difference in that boat. I was really happy with that enclosure, but these actually don't have as much, because it wasn't nearly as big as what I had on my last boat. What about like mold and stuff?
So the mold, with Sunbrella, it's a dyed acrylic, and it has a coating on it, and you can retreat it every couple of years or so with a 303 protectant. But Sunbrella itself, the fibers isn't what's molding. is what I've been told from the manufacturer reps, is it's the dirt that is getting trapped inside the fibers that is giving you the mold and the dirt and everything is stuff's getting in between that woven material. And so some colors I found mold a little bit more than others. And you know, Sunbrella does fade in different ways, and this has been hit by a pressure washer.
Yep.
I know that because you can tell. And what that does is when you pressure wash canvas, it blows all of that water resistancy out of it.
So then you need to retreat
So you have to retreat it every time if you hit it with a pressure washer. But there's a rule of thumb if you're going to use a pressure washer. If you're not a professional boat cleaner, don't use a pressure washer.
Because you're going to do it too
Because
hard.
you're going to do it too hard.
And the pressure washer will also
Speed up the
rot and the
degradation of your thread. Because it's going to blow fibers away. So if, you know, we've worked with a couple of boat cleaners and detailers, and one of them we've taught, he actually came to our shop and we're like, hey, if you're going to, because I mean, they have to make money. They can't sit here and hand scrub with a soft brush forever and try and get something clean. So if they are going to use a pressure washer, you should be able to hold your hand this far away from the nozzle and not hurt your hand. That's how soft that pressure washer has to be. If you should be able to hold it full pressure, you know, and not hurt your hand, you know, within 6 inches, because your canvas is just like your hand. You're going to blow threads out and you're going to ruin it. And if you're too strong, you know, so that's a really good fast test is, can I put my hand underneath that pressure? That's how soft. They need to be really wide and soft spray. And then when you're done, you still have to treat it with 303 put water resistancy back into it. Yeah. My suggestion for people retreating, especially larger canvas, stick it in the garden sprayer. Buy a garden sprayer. Put the stuff in there, because you're supposed to saturate your canvas with this stuff. It's way easier when you're using a garden sprayer and an atomizer, and just instead of doing this and trying to get it all over. Yeah, garden sprayers are the way to go.
Oh, that's an awesome tip.
And so that'll help. So things that are going to be going good for you with the new canvas: no Velcro. We're going to be using lifetime PTFE thread.
Sunbrella is still I still use Sunbrella for 99% of everything that I sew out of my canvas shop is still Sunbrella.
Yep, it's made here in the United States, which is great.
Yeah. There are 3 different kinds of Sunbrella. This is marine grade, right? Yep. Which is 99% of everybody who's out here. Okay. Sunbrella, what you have is water resistant. Yep. Hence, you have that, right? And that's like the main tier of what everybody uses. And then you can upgrade to a Sunbrella Plus, which has a urethane coat, which will make it more waterproof. Yep. And then the next tier above that is called Sunbrella SeaMark. And that is what's on it's a vinyl. It's a vinyl under here. Typically it is a different, like a contrasting color on the SeaMark, and I can show you some examples. But anyway, those are 3 different Sunbrella tiers.
And one of the things to note, if you're going to move from Sunbrella Plus, or to SeaMark, is your breathability goes down through that material. So if you're making an enclosure and you're using SeaMark or Sunbrella Plus, you might find more mold or mildew growing on the inside, just because up here in Seattle, Everett area, we get a lot of moisture in the wintertime. And I know, right? It rains. But what happens is it can't breathe as well in that enclosure, or if you have something that's closed up with it. So a lot of people will say, hey, I've got a bow rider or a ski boat and I want to make a cover and I want it waterproof. Well, that's great. But if there's no place for air to move in that space,
or the breathability for it to evaporate,
what's going to happen? It's going to mold and mildew everything on the inside. And then you're trying to put vents in, things like that. On an enclosure, typically you have enough airflow through the sides that you can get away with a Plus or a SeaMark on the top to get that waterproof. And then your enclosures where you're getting your air movement through in the inside. So for you guys, that's and on these, if you're not doing an enclosure, that's another great option for these boats, is going to a Plus or a SeaMark, because you guys don't have an enclosure, so breathability is not a problem. Right. But you can end up with that vinyl or that waterproof coating on here, and then you don't have to worry about any water coming through here. So those are also great options for these boats. We've been on boats where they haven't been treated in a long time. It's like a rainforest inside. It'll be pouring down rain and it is just dripping everywhere.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's another, kind of an interesting life cycle of when you buy canvas. So for example, when you buy new canvas, the thread hasn't had a chance to swell. We go through, and when we sew, we put millions of little tiny holes in everything, right, for thread. And the first couple of rains, it's really common to get water seeping through those thread holes.
Well, that is one thing that happens with PTFE thread, is because PTFE
doesn't
not
swell as much.
Swell.
Right.
It does not swell. It's like a plastic thread.
So then you want to use a needle that's just the right size for that thread. Yep.
Right.
And so if you're sewing with a 21 needle and 2000 PTFE thread,
What you need in order to punch through how
if you're depending on what you're using,
the thickness of it.
Yeah.
We can get really technical.
And we don't want to sit
really
there.
Good.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different nuance when doing canvas. There's a lot of education and learning, and Jaci's fully self-taught. So she, she's taught herself everything. She's through trial and error and just practice and stuff like that. So, it's been pretty cool to just see everything that she's been able to do. Yeah.
So cleaning the canvas, if you don't use a pressure washer, what's the right way to clean the canvas?
So the right way to clean the canvas is going to be a soft bristle brush. Sunbrella has some cleaning specific. They actually came out with their own brand of cleaning product for Sunbrella. Any boat soaps, things like that you get from your local marine supplier. But then it's just spending time. And
Soft brush.
what most people don't, a lot of times what happens is they're like, I need to clean my canvas. When was the last time you cleaned it? Well, I've never cleaned it. Well, you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning it. If it's a part of your regular maintenance, just like you do an oil change or whatever else, and you're like, hey, I've used my boat, I need to rinse it off. Use something like a salt removing product if you're out in the saltwater a lot, like 𝗧𝗛𝗜𝗦 or something like that, right? That helps. It helps get all that crap that you put on it when you're pounding through the waves. I mean, I've seen some of your videos. I know that you've gotten water up over this thing.
Running down.
Yes. So I know that happens. And, if you're not taking care of what you have, you're reducing that longevity of how long it's going to last.
Yeah, so you mentioned 𝗧𝗛𝗜𝗦. Will 𝗧𝗛𝗜𝗦 stain Sunbrella?
I have not seen it do that yet.
Because I know 𝗧𝗛𝗜𝗦 will stain Raptor deck.
It also pulls the glue up.
Yeah.
Well, then don't use 𝗧𝗛𝗜𝗦 if you have Raptor deck.
Well,
We can now because we're going to replace it.
you could take the canvas off, and it'd be easier to clean it off. And that was another thing. So,
here's a trick. When it's tight, and if you take it off and you wash it, it's going to shrink.
Okay.
When it dries, you might have a harder time getting it on. So our trick is, if you take it off and wash it, put it on while it's sopping wet.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
And then let it re-dry where it's supposed to go. Because a lot of, we have people come in and say, hey, I took my canvas off, I washed it, it doesn't fit anymore. Yup. So
if they re-got it wet, would it fit then?
if they re-saturated it, and then they may have to, like when they put it on, they may only get a zipper to here, and then they need to just let it keep getting it wet and letting it slowly work its way back. Those fibers pull back out and then work their way. But yeah, I mean,
do like
little chunks at a time.
Little by little bit here, a little bit there.
Yep.
Like it's not all the way. Like
If it's tight, you may have a hard time. It may be a couple hours process or a day's process to get it back on.
So that's good, because these are also trailerable boats.
Yep.
And the folks that trailer the R27s often will take the canvas
If
off.
they're going really far.
Yeah, like they're going from California to Washington or whatever.
Highly recommend removing canvas before going on the boat. Because oddly enough, people ask a lot, can I leave it up while I'm driving down the freeway? I was like, do you drive your boat at 70 miles an hour on the water? Well, no. Then why would you want or expect your canvas to survive at 70 miles an hour down the freeway?
Yeah.
And then you get crosswinds, whatever. I mean, you're just running a lot of risk of this thing falling apart. So nobody's going to, for the most part, say, yes, we're building everything to handle 70, 80 miles an hour down the
And
freeway.
it's fabric and thread. Like,
Yeah. So, it's just different techniques. We have a friend who's down in Havasu, and their boats regularly go 70, 80 miles an hour, some of those boats. And they design it specifically to handle those kinds of speeds.
Yeah.
You know, double, triple stitch, things like that, right? So there are ways to get it. We just, up here, we don't have that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm looking for, so this one I've never taken off myself since we've had the boat. I looked at the Velcro and I was
It's trying to take itself off.
Well, yeah, it's doing that now, but now it'd be nice to take it off because it's easier to clean on the solar panels and stuff back there. But I was just worried about it falling apart as it aged.
Yep.
So, and it's finally reached that point.
Yeah. So talking with you, like, so you just mentioned cleaning solar panels. You know, that's something that right now it's very difficult to get this off. Obviously, even getting up into here, it's difficult. And so this is part of that conversation that we have with boat owners. So it may not be great for you because it's not really big, but if this is a really big piece of canvas and it was, taking it out of that track was prohibitive for you, right? Let's say, you had to clean stuff. Well, then this is part of that conversation of, okay, well, that's something you need. Well, we'll put a zipper right on that track. So you don't have to pull the bolt out. You can unzip that section, flap it back, gut up, and go to where you need to go. And that's part of the consultation that we go through with the customer of what are you trying to accomplish and what do you need or what's been your pain points with your canvas? How can we solve those things? And so
That could go right into.
Yeah. So I got this idea. I stole it from a friend. He actually stole it from somebody else. But it would be cool if I could hang this right there.
Yeah.
With like he's doing it on across this, the double bungee. And I was thinking if you guys put a couple of belt hooks, something, I could strap a bungee to make a quick access for the throwable.
Any other ideas, but
Yeah.
What about?
Bet you had a better
I was
idea.
gonna say, what about a pocket?
That would be even awesome.
That's
'Cause-
something that we can
Yeah.
show you. We had a boat owner who has a Tollycraft and came up or had a photo and it was like,
Somebody-
Jaci, can you make this? This is really cool that another canvas company or whatever, and they put 2 stainless bars from their mid sections because it was a 4-bow Bimini and created a Sunbrella pocket that hung down a little bit. And so I came up with a design that could go on the Tollycraft. And it sewed into the zipper, the forward zipper, and the mid or the aft zipper. Sunbrella on both sides, and then I have protected liners, and then a zipper here where she could take off her enclosure panels
And slide them into the pocket.
stick
Oh,
them
yeah.
up here. But it's kind of the same thing.
I like the pocket because the key thing is so where this came from is where does everybody put these on our boats?
Yeah.
Everybody in these boats, they stuff them
Inside.
usually up in the V-berth, in the corner.
Yeah.
And I was talking.
And what are they
to-
used for?
I was
Martin?
talking to some friends of ours that had a Coast Guard inspection, and you have to have one of these on the boat. So the Coast Guard asked him where it was at, and he showed him. And the Coast Guard guy's comment to him, this is what I was told, was he says it took you 45 seconds to get it.
Yep.
Right, and if somebody falls overboard, right, so really they want it out here, but out here there's not really a decent place
Yeah.
to throw it. It's just in the way. But yeah, if you could give me a pocket somewhere up here, just that'd be even better. Then I could
Wherever it
pull it
makes
forward
sense.
and throw
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
So-
That would be awesome. It'd be a nice add-on to it.
It's
She's
need to
sewing in
sew
her head
my
now.
head
I can see that.
because
Yeah.
sewing in my head. Weight.
Well, these are light,
Right?
which is
I
great.
understand that's
Yeah.
light, but extra holes in this umbrella.
But if we can get it. But if you're putting zipper here, you could sew it in with the zipper on that same spot. Have your little pocket, and then it slides in. You can.
It's just time and
it's just-
money.
it's-
Anything can happen with time and money. Like-
No, it's actually a good idea. Like I said, I'm not a fan of hooks and loops and things like that because then you change it and then it doesn't fit the same way. But a pocket, just something that you can slide in there and put in is
Maybe it's mesh. Maybe it, you know.
yeah,
it's a
so it drains, so it
different-
doesn't hold water. So we
Mesh
can do it
would
in
be
a
good.
mesh material, so that way when you do throw it or you're floating in the water up in desolation, using that as your floaty for you know.
I like the mesh idea.
Yeah,
actually.
then it
Yeah.
can drain and dry out, and that way it doesn't mold and mildew inside
Yeah,
there.
that would be good.
So
And it's like that's all I'm interested in storing up there. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to put a cargo net. I've seen some people do that
Nothing
kind
heavy,
of
just
stuff
a
too.
little-
Yeah.
It's just somewhere I could grab the cushion and throw it, and that
Yeah.
way it's out of there and it's at a place that's convenient. Would be good.
Well, it's almost like in the sailboat in my galley, I had one of those nets.
fruit basket,
Fruit
fruit
basket.
nets,
Hammock.
yeah, hammocks,
You know?
yep.
Yeah, it's
Love
kinda
those.
Like that you could put up here and have like your life jackets or you know whatever. But then how far does it hang down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit
No,
your
just
head?
the-
Well, none of us here are 6'6", so we're good.
Well, and it's soft material
Yep.
too. I mean,
This thing's light.
if you hit your head on that,
Yeah.
it's not gonna hurt.
Yeah, and it's not very heavy. It's not gonna, you know, but having that just tucked up nice, you don't see any of that. It's just sitting there. It's not gonna be that bad.
Yeah,
So,
that would be good.
no, that's a good idea.
Possible would be great.
What's that?
I said if possible would be great.
Oh yeah, anything's possible. Almost anything.
Within
Time and money.
Yeah.
Any
So-
other questions? Did you
no,
want
I
us to
think-
show you some examples of?
We should go and take a quick walk through your shop.
Yeah.
Just to show the viewers what that looks like too.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
I'd be
It's-
happy to.
Come on, take a gander over to our shop.
Yeah.
Let's go over the shop and take a quick look over there.
Okay. Sounds good.
I know that we've been chatting about biminis and enclosures and stuff. The other part of the canvas that you have on boats are covers. And with covers, like with this particular one, where the snaps are located,
Are
it's,
horrible.
it's a single layer of Sunbrella, and it's just this tiny.
That's why they tear.
That's
Yes.
why they
Be really
tear.
careful.
And so what happens is they'll just use a scrap piece of material,
Yeah, this little
To
tiny
give
thing
you
to
two
give you
layers of Sunbrella. but they still rip out.
So what I do for my covers is I use I don't remember if it's 12 or
18.
18 ounce vinyl, and it'll be a 2-inch facing that I do around the perimeter of my covers. And the vinyl, I use it for chafe protection, reinforcement patches, or around where you're going to have fasteners. And that's just something that sets.
So all your hardware is going through Sunbrella and 18-ounce vinyl.
So it
And so
will
you
not
don't get it
rip.
pulling out and stuff like that. And we'll do the same thing on here. So this is just 2 layers of Sunbrella holding a zipper. Oops, yeah,
I do
holding
2 layers.
a zipper.
Stop it!
It's like bubble wrap. You just gotta do it.
Kind of fun. But the inside of her enclosures too, where something is adhering on the sides, or we're going to be putting an enclosure, we do the same thing. It'll be 18-ounce vinyl to give that extra strength of where those zippers are. So,
Well, personally, I'll tell you the one thing that I don't like on this. It's right here.
They only did ours that way.
Yeah, and
Everybody else is going forward.
they did this right here. This one snap. So this one should have went to here. Because
time we open
because
the
when
hatch,
I
we
go
have
to
to
open
do
up the hatch,
left
the
side.
center hatch,
Yeah.
all the snaps will work except this one.
Now they don't do it that way.
This one is attached up.
Oh,
It
yeah.
should have been to that side.
because the whole thing flips up.
Right.
Yeah.
That whole flips up. So to flip that up, to pull the hatch up, I have to unsnap just that one, and then I can lift the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying. But Lemon Drop's not done that way. Hers was done correctly, I guess. I don't know.
It's the nuance of people that don't use boats. And when they put things there, they don't think about all the implications of what they do. And that's one of the things that we try to bring to this a little bit differently is being a boat owner. We try to look at everything
The
we do and say,
functionality.
is this actually going to work?
Yeah.
And if it's not, what do we need to do to make it work?
Yeah. All right, let's go down to the yard and check out Little House of Canvas down here. We're actually behind 𝗕𝗢𝗦𝗢 and the Port of Everett Administration Building. So down here, and dry docked effectively. It's a nice big boat.
Kind of what we do, what our digitizer does and is, because it's kind of cool.
Plastic you were talking about. Right?
Yeah, so this is what we use. This is,
And you run those.
then we run these through. So this would be, you know, a version. There's a couple different types of material, but this one I think was actually upholstery. Yeah. Yeah. So when she does like upholstery, this is a, you know, a panel, probably for, I don't know what it was for, but so she'll actually do spray adhesive on the old upholstery and then stick this on and then trace where all the seams are. And that's one of the fastest ways without having to tear the whole thing apart and reuse the old, because a lot of times it'll change shape once you get it off. And so this is a trick we learned, just gluing this to the existing and then tracing all your seams. You know, you add 1/2 inch on every piece, but you can remake all your skins that way. And then you can sew it back together without removing the original, so you have what the end product is supposed to look like in mind when you're sewing up the new, and then you take it off and then staple all the new skins or stretch all the new skins on. And so like we would take this, and then we have, this is our digitizer. So this is in the way at the moment, but basically this shoots a little laser beam out, and then we draw our cut lines and our plot lines, and we just run this all the way through, and it draws on the computer. And so we have a computer there, and then we put up a big monitor so we can actually watch what we're doing on the big monitor live. So it's a mirror of the computer. Mm-hmm. And then when we're plotting and cutting out, so this will cut out our Strataglass. It's got a drag knife on it, so it will cut out the glass. It'll cut the Sunbrella all out. And then with regular Sunbrella, typically it frays if you cut it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, you know, so we do a lot of burning, but when we use this to cut, most of our edges are either bound or they get, they're internal. And so they're not in a place that you're going to see any of that or where it's going to fray. We're really particular about making sure our seams don't look bad. Mm. And so we'll use this to cut a majority of the stuff. And then when we're done, any of our exposed seams that we did cut, we'll hit with a hot knife and seal the edges. Mm. So if it's not being bound or something else, so it makes it kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good thing to mention too. We haven't talked about that. You know, looking at all the foam and stuff up there. They also do upholstery.
We do. We also do upholstery, yes. You know, we're blessed to, and where we're at, we have local suppliers. Mm-hmm. And so we can order materials and get it same week, sometimes next day, or in 2 days. And so it's really nice for canvas shops like us to be able to have on time, you know, delivery. We don't have to stock a ton of raw materials and supplies because we can get it here so fast. Mm-hmm. A lot of our other canvas shop neighbors that we know, they don't have that option. It's once every 3 weeks they get a delivery, so they have to order a lot and hold a lot to be able to do what they need. But we have a lot of suppliers close by, which is cool.
Can I show you some things? We mentioned zippers when we were on your boat, so I thought that I would show you two differences. So I do have metal. This is a single pull, like I said, for the Bimini. And then this is the YKK Derlin plastic zipper. So because I am more of a saltwater shop, a majority of what I do is the UV resistant plastic versus metal that can
Just
corrode.
because of the
So-
corrosion. And it's a strong plastic. I mean, I've yanked on those things really hard, putting Biminis together and stuff like that.
And sometimes, so you can get single pull like this, double pull like that, and then some are locking, which if you see in the center right there, there's like a little bit of
Small piece of metal.
a small piece of metal. So a locking zipper, it's like just a tooth or something that goes down in between the teeth to keep it from
Pulling off.
pulling off. So
You zip it and then it locks it in place. So that way, if it's under a lot of tension, it can't. A lot of times you get traveling zippers where they slowly start to separate. The lock helps hold. So you have to have the zipper in the right position, which is pushing to release that lock, so it doesn't slide. Just
So
you can't just do this, right? And so that's a lot of the on these. That's the only
kinds of zippers.
only metal on this is that little lock.
Yeah.
So do you want to give them a tour of the shop?
Welcome to my home away from home.
Well, your home's not that far from here.
Nope.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome to Little House of Canvas. I started sewing a couple years ago or 4 years ago on my salon table and pattern on the dock, hoping that seagulls wouldn't poop on my material and the wind wouldn't catch it and I'd have to go swimming with the seals. And slowly over the course of 4 years, I grew to this.
Amazing how fast it goes. So I'm assuming it was your own boat you were doing canvas for to start with.
It was.
It was my boat and then my neighbor's boats, and it has just gone from there.
Yep.
So every boat, every project is different. I do a lot of research and just a lot of figuring it out. When you come into my shop, you're greeted, and this is the consulting table, and we can talk about different Sunbrella materials and fabric swatches,
Nice.
and I do upholstery
And foam.
foam, as I chatted with you. These are the Sunbrella marine grade, but then it also goes to the Sunbrella Plus.
And SeaMark.
Remember I said that Sunbrella Plus has a coating on the back?
Yep.
So that's what it looks like.
That's your
And then SeaMark
has the vinyl.
the vinyl,
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
right? So yeah, we can talk about your project and give you different color swatches. From there, what else is in my shop?
Well, I mean, obviously we've got a lot of projects going on. We do this one. We're doing actually dinghy chaps and a cover. He's a sailor, so he flips his dinghy upside down. So we're actually going to make a cover for when it's upside down on the bow of his boat, and then chaps, so that way it protects the hypalon from the UV sun and stuff like, the sun's rays and whatnot, so it lasts longer. So, we do a lot of things, from canvas covers, but then sometimes we're doing dinghies or, flybridge enclosures. So yeah, we have a wide range of products that we can provide, and, which is great and an amazing spot to do it from.
Amazing spot to do it from. We were chatting on your boat in our water slip, and then in front of my shop, if you turned over.
This is all our space.
So, and I did the canvas on that boat.
Yep.
That was one of my last couple of projects.
Yep.
And see, that's kind of cool because you don't need the boat hauled out to do canvas because that's above the water line. But if you hauled the boat out, it's convenient to get the canvas work done. Sometimes it may take longer, and you can work on your engine, you can change your anodes, you can get your boat bottom painted.
Yep.
PSC Marine, we've talked to Brian, we've done videos with him on bottom paint and stuff, and he's right next door to their shop here, so it's really convenient, to get your whole boat fixed while you're hauled out.
Yeah, and this is a customer of ours. They actually blew a transmission, And so we were looking for a place to haul out. We had the space available, and they're one of our customers. And so we told them, hey, bring your boat up and you can put it in here. The port's got forklifts. They pulled the transmissions out. And so they're going to be out here for a couple of weeks. And, you know, it's just something else that we can offer some of our customers. If we don't have a boat already scheduled to come out for canvas or whatever, we can offer our customers an extra place to have a friendly location and put their boat up in here and do work on it. So,
Cool.
So coming into my shop, I have a patterning table where I can also lay all of my glass down. Oh, that's the other thing. We were chatting about enclosure or different gauges of glass. So a lot of other that you would get from manufacturers, right, is like 20 gauge vinyl. It's really crappy. You throw it away, you know, whatever. But there is no UV resistance,
Minimal.
no scratch resistance. This is stuff that eventually yellows, and it's really hard as a boater. It's really hard to see out of. I do not do this in my shop. I don't like it. But it's as an example of what not to do.
That's what D&D means. Do not do.
The minimum quality that I like to go for is 40 Strataglass. This you can, like, it would be great for port, starboard, aft, places
Doors.
doors.
That's a lot of what Ranger Tug is. People have all the panels, so they can roll them up
Yep.
whenever they want.
Where you can roll it up.
Yep.
In this you can do U-shaped windows, you know, to again roll up, have ventilation. So this is a majority of what I do for port, starboard, and aft enclosure panels. And then you go into either 60 gauge Strataglass, which is windshields. So 40, 60 for windshields, or
Doesn't roll.
It doesn't. It bends.
Yeah.
Do not roll it.
Yeah.
Right, because you don't want to keep the warbles or have warbles in your vinyl. So this is what I would
That's the technical term, warbles. Yeah.
generally recommend for windshields.
Yep.
Or you could go to 60 Tuffak, which is
It's a polycarbonate.
it's a polycarbonate. It is glass-like.
Yep. We use this on a lot of flybridge windshields, or if we're doing sliding panels on a large boat, because this doesn't roll at all.
Right.
And it very little bend. You know, it can bend, but it wants to be flat. So we do a lot of sliding with these, and then or sailboat dodgers, because they get so much water. They can have a lot of water coming up and over on a sailboat. You want something strong to protect, so it doesn't fall in.
Going back to 40 and 60 gauge Strataglass, how do you clean it?
Very carefully
Very carefully.
with a good product.
You can take it from here.
So, so 𝗕𝗢𝗦, which is the only product, Strataglass, which is a manufacturer. So Strataglass is the brand of clear vinyl that we use. There's a couple other manufacturers of it as well, but we typically use Strataglass. They only recommend 𝗕𝗦. Their warranty lists a bunch of other ones that people are very familiar with using and have been used a lot over the years.
Voids the warranty.
And it actually voids the warranty of Strataglass itself.
So
and in fact, most manufacturers, whether it's Strataglass or OC or Regalite, they specifically say don't use these products. And a lot of it is if there's alcohol in it, if there's ammonia in it, what it does is it dries out the plastic and speeds up cracking. So those products might make it look really good quickly, but long term you're ruining the actual life of it. And so you're drying out, just like your skin, you're drying out the plastic, and then when you get a freeze and you hit it, it cracks. It starts to craze and haze, and so you don't want to use things that have any alcohol or ammonia in it.
So the reason why these products, or the cleaning products, is actually the same polymer. Chatting with the rep, the same polymers that are in and make up the Strataglass are in the cleaning product, so you're putting it, the
Back
same
into it.
polymers back into it. So
Yep.
it's like putting lotion on your skin,
Yep.
you're rehydrating your Strataglass.
Yep.
So that's
So
how
you clean it with the cleaner and then
Yep.
you would polish it.
Then you polish it
Yes.
with the polish,
So,
like
like-
once a month or every couple of months you use the polish.
Yeah.
You would use this after, every couple of weeks if you're out traveling, or once a month. You can use it, or, regular boat soap, soft bristle brush, clean, after a trip, stuff like that. Don't let the salt stay on it, because what does salt do? It preserves by drying. And so it's going to do the same thing to your glass. It's going to pull the moisture and everything out of that glass, out of your clear vinyl, and it's going to dry it out. So you want to use things like the manufactured recommended cleaners on a regular basis to keep it soft and supple.
So here's a question. Any of you guys that have the enclosure, leave in the comment section how often you rinse the enclosure off after you come back from a trip with salt water. I'm curious if anybody does that.
I hate to say this, but I mean, we walk the docks for boaters, so we're down and there's some customers of ours that, we put a brand new canvas in and we talk, and I think that there's at least one that I know of. I don't know if they've ever washed it, because it has looked the same for the last 4 years, the same salt, the same everything. It's like, oh, please wash your boat. Get the stuff off. Maintenance. But yeah, it's just like maintenance. I mean, you're supposed to change the oil and do everything else and check your fluids and do all that on an engine. It's the same with the canvas. You need to be needing to take care of it and maintain it.
Yeah.
So going on from there, I know on your Ranger tug, we were just mentioning windows or window covers or something like that. So this is Pfeiffer Tex, which
Yeah, it's just a screen. So we were talking about, this is what we would use. If you did black, we'd use a black Pfeiffer Tex for your pocket, because it's really lightweight. It allows for water to go through. So if that the cushion or the throwable, if you get it wet, you can stick it in here and it'll still drain down and out, and then it'll match nicely.
So just, different colors. Like I said, when I do my stuff, I
Put a facing around
put a
it.
facing around it.
Because this is what all your snaps and hardware is getting put into. So if you're doing grommets or snaps, this is going to last a lot longer than just trying to do this plus the stretch, right? And so if you just so we've pulled some off of customers' boats that we're remaking, and they'll just do a double layer of this around the edge, but this stretches. So when you're using that for snaps and then you're pulling, you're stretching this out, and then eventually your snap pops through. Right. And so we put some things in here that keeps it from stretching. So that way you get a really nice, strong backing for your hardware to go into. And what it does is, so there's, again, there's different versions of vinyl. Some stuff that comes out will shrink. And that's, if it's, depending on the quality of the vinyl, it will actually shrink, and then you get premature shrinking of your upholstery or your canvas products and your screens, because the facing shrinks. And so we use a higher grade vinyl, so that way it doesn't shrink the way that we see in some of the other stuff.
Kind of like the last thing that I did on the boat, when we talked about your cover, and I told you that I put facing, this is where snaps would go into. And that's what it looks on the outside.
Yeah, instead of those little fabric tabs that tear just like your canvas.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
You pull too hard.
Yep.
So it's just different ways to
That's really nice.
fabricate.
And we really try to listen, because everybody's got a use. And just because we do it one way doesn't mean that there's not another use for doing something. And it just comes back to, yes, it takes time. Yes, all of those things go into it. And I mean, we're a production shop. We're trying to get things moving and through, but we try really hard not to sacrifice. We got to keep making things go through, and what you guys actually want to use your canvas for. Yes, and we love Lizina's work. So, yeah, no, we're very excited to have your guys' stuff for our shirts and company.
It's
company swag. So, no, we're really happy about it.
Yeah.
So,
so if you want like yacht club stuff, you use your boat name,
right?
𝗕𝗢𝗔𝗧.
Yes.
What's your company called?
channelsurfingcreations.com.
Yep, there you go. Perfect. Yeah.
So how do people get a hold of you guys?
So the best way, always we're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. So they can swing by and stop in the shop here at the Port of Everett. They can go to our website, littlehouseofcanvas.com.
Okay.
There's we have past project photos, we have some education on there, and then we have a contact form, and you can submit right there, and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Or you can give us a call. We have you want me to give you a phone number?
I'll put all the info.
Yeah, you'll put all the info will be on the video, so you guys will have all of that. Or you can text us on that number too. So we're pretty easy to get a hold of. We love photos. Most of our estimating is done actually off of the original photos that you give us of what your project is. Common misconception is that we're here and we're able to just always go out onto a boat. But if every time we're walking out onto a boat, we'd spend all day out on boats and no time sewing.
Right.
And so we try to do a lot of our estimating off of photos, and we have some details that we can ask for.
At least to give a price range
Yep.
of what we're looking at. An estimate. Come in with a photo. A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yep.
And all those estimates come from you. It's not like you have somebody
Nope.
you can.
We
"Oh,
are
we'll do this,"
we
right?
are
So-
estimating everything as
Yep.
well, all in house for every project.
To try and
Yep.
do a price range, and then what happens? We give a price range.
Yep. So a lot of times we'll start with a price range, make sure we're still,
Having a
in a conversation. A lot of times your expectation, you may not even know what canvas costs.
Right.
And so we want to give you a range. Say, hey, it's going to be somewhere around in here. Does that sound good? If it is, cool. Now we'll go and spend a little more time putting together a more honed in estimate for you and your project. And then you can accept it, and then you're in our queue. Once it's with exception and deposit, then you're in our queue, and then we work to
We'll let you know when
we're up to you.
Your
Yep.
project, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So now in general, what's the normal backlog for you? 3-4 months?
Our goal is to stay around the 3-month mark.
Okay.
We have a couple of sewers. We have a full-time installer. We have a gal who sits up here to answer phones, things like that. So we're not a mom and pop one-person show any longer. Like you.
But we're also not huge.
But we're also, that's the hardest part, is finding people who want to come do this, like sewers. It's hard to find people who want to sit and sew.
So if you want to sew.
If you want to sew, come check us out. We're looking for skilled. We have one apprentice right now, and she's amazing and does great work. And so it's about culture and fit, and also skill. And so that's kind of where we're at.
Sometimes you can teach skill, but you can't necessarily teach someone to fit in.
Correct.
Yeah, personality.
Yep. We can teach you how to sew.
It's a
but
delicate balance.
It's a balance, right? And so it's one of those challenges I think most small businesses are running into.
Not everybody likes to sew.
No.
Sewing since I was like 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, cool. Thank you guys for your time, and get started on my boat, and
Yeah.
then we'll go over what it looks like when it's done.
Sounds good. We're excited.
Anything else you guys wanted to add?
Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Appreciate it.
If you enjoyed this video, click the link to watch another. And don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps us out. Thanks for watching.